I opened the salon on a sunny morning, awaiting the first customers. Business at my beauty salon was always good, but that day seemed busier than usual. Shortly after opening the doors, Hilda and Donna arrived, eager to finish their hair. Tara started working on Donna while I focused on Hilda. The two friends chatted animatedly about their love adventures, laughing and sharing details without caring who might be listening. As I cut Hilda's hair, I couldn't help but overhear snippets of their conversation. Hilda discussed a date last Friday, describing it as a spectacular night, while Donna commented on her escapades. "And that guy you had your eye on at the club last Saturday?" Donna asked. "Well, that's the one I went out with. He took me to dinner at a super fancy restaurant," Hilda replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I found myself smiling and couldn't help but join the conversation. "It sounds like you might be falling for him, huh? Your eyes light up when you talk about this guy," I commented, looking at Hilda through the mirror. Hilda shrugged, but it was Donna who answered, laughing. "In love? Hilda doesn't fall in love. She changes boyfriends like she changes clothes." Everyone in the salon laughed, including Hilda, who retorted, "Of course, honey. Equal rights. You snooze, you lose. I move on quickly." More laughter followed, and I continued cutting Hilda's hair, but I couldn't stop thinking about the conversation. She seemed like a fun, carefree young woman, enjoying life without attachments. I finished Hilda's haircut and walked her to the cash register. She was still laughing and chatting with Donna, and for a moment I felt a pang of envy for her carefree attitude. As Hilda left the salon, I didn't know that this seemingly ordinary client would soon turn my life upside down. After Hilda and Donna left, I commented on the conversation with Tara. "These girls have stories, don't they? Hilda seems like she doesn't get attached to anyone," I said, trying to sound casual. Tara nodded. "Yes, but sometimes those are the ones who hurt the most inside," she replied, giving me a meaningful look. That night, I closed the salon with a strange feeling. Something about Hilda and Donna's conversation bothered me, but I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was. Maybe it was the carefree way they talked about their relationships, or a hunch I couldn't explain. Either way, I decided to set it aside and focus on my work. Little did I know this was just the tip of the iceberg. After a long day at the salon that Saturday, I decided to visit my mother. She always had a way of calming me with her soothing conversations and chamomile tea. I knocked on the door and was greeted with a warm hug. While she prepared the tea, I took the opportunity to ask about Gary, my brother. "How's Gary, Mom? I haven't heard much about him lately," I commented, grabbing a slice of the carrot cake she had made. My mother smiled, but had a secretive look. Harper, he's doing great, and you won't believe it. He has a girlfriend," she said, her eyes sparkling. I was surprised and happy for him, especially knowing how much he had suffered after his last heartbreak. "Really? Who is she?" I asked, curious. "He's bringing her here tomorrow for lunch. Come too, you'll like her," my mother replied, not revealing many details. Caleb and I went to my mother's house for lunch on Sunday. When we arrived, Gary was already there, and beside him, holding hands, was Hilda. My heart almost stopped. The same Hilda I had attended to at the salon was there, smiling as if nothing had happened. She recognized me immediately, her eyes widening but quickly composed herself. "Harper, this is Hilda," Gary said, not noticing the discomfort in the air. "Hilda, this is my sister, Harper." I shook Hilda's hand, forcing a smile. "We actually know each other. Hilda is a client at my salon," I explained, trying to keep my voice steady. Hilda smiled nervously. "Yes, we've met a few times at the salon." The lunch was a test of nerves. Every time Gary and Hilda exchanged affectionate glances, I felt a tightness in my heart. Her words at the salon echoed in my mind. "I move on quickly." It was hard to reconcile the image of that carefree woman with the devoted girlfriend in front of me. Caleb noticed my discomfort and asked what was wrong. "Nothing. I'm just a bit tired," I lied, not wanting to make a scene. Despite my unease, the lunch went smoothly. Gary was visibly happy, and this increased my inner conflict. He deserved to be satisfied, but I couldn't get the things Hilda had said at the salon out of my head. After lunch, while helping my mother clean the kitchen, I asked more about Hilda. "Mom, do you know how Gary met Hilda?" I asked casually. "At the club he goes to. She started going there recently and they hit it off right away. Gary is so happy, Harper. He deserves this after everything he's been through," my mother replied, not noticing my concern. When Caleb and I got home, he finally pressed me to talk. "Harper, I know something is bothering you. What is it?" I sighed, knowing I couldn't hide it any longer. "It's Hilda. She's the client at the salon who always talks about her love adventures and how she doesn't get attached to anyone." "I'm worried about Gary," I explained, recounting the conversation I had overheard at the salon. Caleb was thoughtful for a moment. "Maybe she's changed. People can change, Harper, but I understand your concern. Let's see how things develop," he suggested. I agreed, but the unease didn't leave me. The following days were a mix of hope and anxiety. I decided not to say anything to Gary for now. Maybe Caleb was right, and Hilda was in love with him. Gary and Hilda became a constant presence in our lives. The two seemed inseparable, and Gary was glowing with happiness, something I hadn't seen in a long time. Hilda, in turn, seemed like a caring and devoted girlfriend, which only increased my confusion and suspicion. One afternoon, Hilda came to the salon to get her hair done. "Hi, Harper. How are you?" she asked with a radiant smile. "I'm fine, Hilda. And you?" I replied, trying to keep things cordial. She began to talk about Gary, how he made her feel special, and how happy she was. Despite the sweet words, I couldn't erase from my memory the previous conversations I had overheard in the salon. I observed her eyes in the mirror as I worked on Hilda's hair. She seemed sincere, but something wouldn't let me completely relax. "You and Gary seem very happy," I commented casually. "Oh, Harper, he's wonderful. I never thought I would find someone like him," she responded, her eyes shining. Tara, who was nearby, watched us silently. After Hilda left, Tara approached me. "You're still suspicious, aren't you?" she asked. I nodded. "Yes, I can't forget what she said last time. I'm afraid Gary will get hurt again," I confessed. The days passed, and my suspicion only grew. Hilda continued to frequent the salon, becoming closer to me. She tried to win me over, complimenting my work and even bringing occasional gifts. Despite everything, my intuition told me to stay alert. At one of our family lunches, my mother, Gary, Hilda, Caleb, and I were together again. I observed the interactions between Hilda and Gary attentively. They were holding hands, exchanging glances and affectionate smiles. Everything seemed too perfect. "Harper, you're so quiet today," my mother commented, snapping me out of my thoughts. "I'm fine, Mom. Just thinking about some work stuff," I lied, trying to appear carefree. Caleb, beside me, squeezed my hand, a silent gesture of support. He knew how much this situation was troubling me. Later that night, while we were at home, he asked, "Do you think she's deceiving Gary?" I sighed deeply. "I don't know, Caleb. Something just doesn't feel right. I hope I'm wrong, but I can't shake this feeling." Caleb tried to comfort me. "Let's give it time. If something is wrong, it will come to light. But for now, try to relax and support Gary. He seems happy," he suggested. I agreed, knowing he was right. But the doubt persisted, and my instinct told me something was still coming. Hilda came to the salon again the following week, this time with Donna. They seemed closer than ever, laughing and talking about their weekend plans. "We're thinking of going to the club again," Hilda said, looking at me. "You and Caleb should come too, Harper. It will be fun," she suggested. I smiled, but inside my stomach churned. "I think it would be a good idea," I responded without much enthusiasm. Hilda and Donna exchanged knowing looks. Tara, who was nearby, gave me a worried look. As soon as they left, Tara approached. "You don't have to go if you don't feel comfortable," she said. "I know, but I think I need to keep an eye on things," I replied. Despite my attempts to stay calm, something about Hilda wouldn't let me relax. Gary was happy, but I couldn't ignore my instinct. I decided to stay alert and watch closely. On Saturday night, Caleb and I accepted Hilda and Donna's invitation to attend the club. Gary was excited, insisting it would be a fun night. "It will be great, Harper. You need to relax a bit," he said enthusiastically. I smiled at him, trying to hide my worries. The club was packed as usual. The loud music and colorful lights created a vibrant atmosphere. Gary and Hilda went straight to the dance floor, and Caleb went to get drinks. I sat at a table with Donna, who was lively and energetic. "You should dance, Harper. It's a great way to forget about problems," she suggested, pulling me by the hand. Caleb returned with the drinks, and after a sip, Donna and I went to the dance floor. We danced to a few songs before I got tired and returned to the table. I watched Gary and Hilda dancing together, and my heart tightened. They seemed so happy. Maybe Caleb was right. Perhaps I was worrying for nothing. But then something caught my attention. Hilda was now dancing with Caleb, and they were very close, much closer than I felt comfortable with. I watched silently as they laughed and moved in sync. A wave of jealousy and suspicion hit me. Gary, who had gone to get another drink, returned to the table. "Harper, are you okay?" he asked, noticing my expression. "Yes, just a bit tired," I replied, trying to smile. But my eyes couldn't leave Caleb and Hilda. They seemed to be having fun, but something about that scene deeply bothered me. After a few songs, Caleb returned to the table, sweaty and smiling. "Are you having fun?" he asked, kissing me on the cheek. "Yes," I lied, glancing at Hilda, who continued dancing, now with another partner. Caleb noticed my discomfort. "Harper, are you okay? You seem worried," he said, holding my hand. I sighed, deciding to be honest. "I didn't like seeing you dancing so close to Hilda," I confessed, my eyes meeting his. Caleb frowned, surprised. "Harper, we were just having fun. There's nothing wrong with that," he replied, trying to calm me. "I know, Caleb. I think I'm being silly. Let's try to enjoy the night," I said, pushing away my negative thoughts. But the truth was that the doubt was rooting itself deeper into my heart. On the way home, the silence between us was palpable. Caleb tried to start a conversation several times, but I was lost in my thoughts. When we got home, he finally asked, "Harper, do you really think Hilda is interested in me?" "I don't know, Caleb. I just know that something doesn't feel right. Maybe it's just my imagination, but I can't ignore this feeling," I replied, guilty for my distrust. Caleb sighed, pulling me into a hug. "Harper, I love you. There's nothing between Hilda and me. Please, trust me," he said, kissing my forehead. I hugged him back, wanting to believe his words. But the image of Hilda and Caleb dancing together was etched in my mind. I decided to put it aside and focus on our relationship. After all, Caleb was my husband, and I needed to trust him. The following days were an attempt to return to normal. Hilda continued to frequent the salon, and I tried to keep things professional. Gary seemed happier than ever, and I didn't want to ruin that for him. But the discomfort I felt towards Hilda only grew. I knew I needed to confront her, but I feared how Gary would react if he knew about my suspicions. The opportunity came one afternoon at the salon when Hilda came to get her nails done. Tara was busy with another client, so I took the chance to talk to Hilda privately. "Hilda, can we talk for a minute?" I asked, trying to appear calm. She looked at me with a smile. "Of course, Harper. What's up?" I suggested we go to the back of the salon to have some privacy. "Hilda, I need to be honest with you. I'm worried about Gary. Since you started dating my brother, I've had this feeling that something isn't right, I began, trying to find the right words. The last time you were here, I heard you say that you don't get attached to anyone. That worried me, especially now that you're with my brother. Hilda seemed surprised, but didn't become defensive. Harper, I understand your concern. Gary is very important to me. I admit that I used to be like that, but Gary is different. I really am in love with him, she said, her eyes sincere. So those things you said in the salon were just jokes? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Hilda nodded. Yes, Donna and I were just joking. I know it may have sounded bad, but I was just having fun. Gary means a lot to me. He makes me want to be a better person, she said. I looked at Hilda, trying to decipher if she was being sincere. There was a genuineness in her eyes that was hard to ignore. I hope you're telling the truth, Hilda. I just want my brother to be happy, I said, trying to hide my uncertainty. Hilda held my hand. Harper, I swear I'm being honest. Gary is a wonderful person, and I want to be with him. I know it may be hard to believe, but I ask you to give me a chance to prove that I'm telling the truth, she said. I agreed, though there was still doubt in my heart. Maybe I was overly protective, but something in me was still suspicious. However, I decided to give Hilda the benefit of the doubt. I'll try to believe you, Hilda. I just don't want to see Gary hurt again, I said. In the following days, I tried to focus on work and my relationship with Caleb. He noticed that I was calmer, and this helped us reconnect. I still watched Hilda cautiously, but tried to give her a chance, as promised. Gary continued to be happy, and gradually I began to relax. Hilda seemed to be genuinely trying to prove her love for him. Maybe she had changed, as she said. But my distrust didn't wholly disappear. One night, while Caleb and I were home, he asked about the conversation with Hilda. So, do you feel better after talking to her? He asked, stroking my hand. Yes, a little. She seems to be sincere, but there's still something that bothers me, I replied, trying to explain my feelings. Caleb smiled, understanding. It's natural to feel that way, but you've done what you could. Now only time will tell. Gary seems happy, and that's the most important thing, he said, kissing my forehead. I knew he was right. I needed to give it time and watch. Hilda was making an effort to show she was worthy of Gary's and my trust. I decided to focus on the present and enjoy the happy moments we had as a family. Weeks passed, and Hilda continued to frequent the salon, staying friendly and open. Gary was radiant, and I thought that maybe I was wrong. Caleb and I resumed our routine of outings and trips, which helped strengthen our relationship. However, despite things seemingly going well, my intuition told me to stay alert. Maybe it was just a protective sister's instinct, but I knew I needed to be attentive to any sign of trouble. After all, Gary's love and happiness were at stake, and I would do anything to protect him. Saturday began like any other at the salon, with clients arriving for their weekly cuts and colors. Tara and I were busy when the salon door swung open forcefully, and Gary walked in, visibly upset. My heart raced to see the expression on his face. Harper, we need to talk now, he said, his voice trembling. I apologized to the client I was attending and took Gary to the back of the salon. Gary, what happened? You're scaring me, I said, trying to stay calm. Harper, I caught Hilda and Caleb together. They were in our house, in our bed, he said, his voice breaking with pain. My world stopped. I felt a wave of shock and disbelief wash over me. What? That can't be, I whispered, tears burning my eyes. I was suspicious, so I started paying more attention. Today I decided to go to your house to talk to Caleb about some things, and I found them. They were there without shame, Gary continued, his hands trembling. My mind was spinning as I tried to process the double betrayal. I need to go home, I said, my voice faltering. I left the salon in Tara's care, who looked worried, and rushed home. My heart was shattered, and a part of me still couldn't believe this was happening. When I got home, I found Caleb in the bathroom, trying to clean the blood from his head. "Harper, I can explain," he began, but I didn't want to hear it. "You betrayed me, Caleb, with my brother's girlfriend, in our house," I shouted, feeling the anger and pain consume me. Caleb tried to approach, but I backed away. "Harper, it was a mistake. I don't know what came over me. Hilda was always hitting on me, and I gave in," he said, his voice full of regret. "Please, forgive me." "Forgive? How do you expect me to forgive something like this? You destroyed everything, Caleb. Our marriage, our trust, and Gary's life," I replied, tears streaming down my face. I didn't know what to do. I just knew I needed space. "Leave, Caleb. I need time. I need to think," I said, my voice breaking. Deciding to kick Caleb out of the house was painful but necessary. After the betrayal, there was no way to rebuild the trust that had been destroyed. He tried to argue, apologize, and beg for a second chance, but my heart was closed. "Caleb, you broke everything we had. I can't trust you anymore. I need time and space to process all this," I said, trying to keep my voice firm despite the tears threatening to fall. Caleb packed his things and left, leaving our house strangely silent. The void he left behind was immense, but I knew it was the only way to start healing. I sat in the living room for hours, trying to understand how our life had come to this point. The memories of our marriage, the happy moments we shared, all seemed like a lie now. Gary was also dealing with the pain of his betrayal. He tried to talk to Hilda, but she had disappeared without a trace. The pain in his eyes was hard to bear. "I thought she was different, Harper. I loved her," he said, his voice breaking with sadness. "I know, Gary. I also thought Caleb was different. But we'll get through this together." "We're not alone," I replied, holding his hand. Our mother's support was crucial. She welcomed us into her home, where we spent hours talking, crying, and trying to find some comfort. "You are strong, my children. You will overcome this," she said, hugging us. Her presence was a balm for our wounded souls. Going back to the salon took a lot of work. Every client, every haircut was a reminder of what had happened. Hilda had been a regular client, and now all I could think about was her betrayal. Tara was a great support, taking on most of the work while I tried to pull myself together. "Everything will be okay, Harper. You're a strong woman," she would say, always with words of encouragement. Gary, on the other hand, tried to stay busy. He started going out with friends, visiting new places, trying to take his mind off things. I knew he still loved Hilda, which made everything more complicated. "It will take time, but you'll get over this, Gary. And you'll find someone who truly deserves you," I told him, offering comfort. Deciding to file for divorce from Caleb was a challenging but necessary step. We met at the lawyer's office, and he looked defeated. "Harper, I never wanted to hurt you. I made a mistake, and I'll carry this weight forever," he said, signing the papers. I just nodded, without the strength to say anything more. The pain was still too fresh. The weeks turned into months, and slowly, we began to find a new normal. The pain of the betrayal never wholly disappeared, but I learned to live with it. The salon became a place of comfort for me, where I could lose myself in work and find some relief. Gary also began to recover, finding new activities and people to fill his time. One night, we were sitting on the porch of our mother's house, looking at the stars. "Remember when we were kids and we'd come here to make wishes on the stars?" Gary asked with a slight smile. "I remember. I always wished for a pony," I replied, laughing. "And I always wished to be happy," he said thoughtfully. "I'll keep wishing for that. Maybe one day the stars will listen." "They will listen, Gary. I'm sure of it," I replied, squeezing his hand. Waking up every day without Caleb by my side was a difficult adjustment. Now silent and empty, the house seemed a constant reminder of what I had lost. However, I knew I needed to move forward for myself and Gary. The pain was still there, but I was determined to rebuild my life. The beauty salon became my refuge, I immersed myself in work, finding comfort in the routine and client interactions. Tara was by my side, always willing to help and offer encouragement. "You're doing great, Harper. One day at a time," she would say, and I clung to those words. On the other hand, Gary struggled to find a new normal. He had started going to a gym and joined a running group, trying to occupy his mind and body. However, the pain of the betrayal still haunted him. Many nights he would show up at our mother's house, and we would spend hours talking about everything and nothing, trying to find solace in each other's company. While we were at the salon one afternoon, Gary walked in with a lighter expression. "Harper, I met someone in the running group. Her name is Emily. She's different from anyone I've ever known," he said with a hopeful gleam in his eyes. I was happy for him, though still worried. "That's great, Gary. Just take it slow, okay?" He nodded, understanding my concern. Emily started coming to the salon, and soon I realized how different she was from Hilda. She was kind, attentive, and, most importantly, genuinely interested in Gary. Seeing my brother smile again brought a bit of peace to my heart. As for me, I needed to do something more to help me move forward. I enrolled in a cooking course, something I had always wanted to do but never had time for. The classes were a way to distract myself and at the same time learn something new. I met new people and felt slightly enthusiastic about life again. Caleb, on the other hand, respected my decision to separate. He moved to a nearby apartment but avoided contact, understanding that I needed space. Although I still felt the pain of his betrayal, I realized it was possible to move forward without him. My mother was a pillar of strength during this process. She was always there, offering advice and a shoulder to cry on. "Harper, you're a strong woman. You've always been. You'll get through this," she would say, and her words gave me the strength I needed to continue. Gradually, I began to see that life was offering me new opportunities. The wounds were far from healing, but I was determined to find happiness again. I decided to redecorate the house, transforming it into a space reflecting my life's new phase. Painting the walls, choosing new furniture, and rearranging the rooms was therapeutic, giving me control over something in my life. One night, while preparing a new recipe I had learned in the course, Gary showed up with Emily. "We thought of having a game night. What do you think?" he asked. I smiled, feeling a sense of normalcy I hadn't felt in a long time. "Sounds like a great idea," I replied, hugging them. The night was fun, full of laughter and friendly competitions. For the first time in a long time, I felt thrilled. Gary was recovering, I was finding my way, and we were building a new chapter in our lives. I began to see a bright future ahead, full of possibilities. I learned to live with the scars of the past, knowing that they were part of who I was, but didn't define my future. One afternoon, while I was at the salon, I received a message from Gary. "Emily and I are engaged. We want you to be the first to know," the message read. My eyes filled with tears of joy. Gary had found happiness again, and it filled me with hope. I ended the day at the salon with a smile, grateful for the new opportunities and the strength I had found within myself. Life continued, and I was ready to embrace each new day with courage and hope. Months I had passed since the divorce and Gary's separation from Hilda. Spring brought a new breath of life and a sense of rebirth. I grew stronger each day, grateful for the lessons learned and the new opportunities life offered me. The salon was busier than ever. New clients arrived, attracted by the reputation Tara and I had built. I felt fulfilled and proud of what we had accomplished. Work, which had once been a refuge, was now a source of joy and satisfaction. Gary and Emily were engaged, and their happiness was palpable. Game nights and family dinners had become a tradition, filling our home with laughter and love. Emily's presence brought a lightness we hadn't felt in a long time. Gary was happy, and that gave me hope for the future. One day, while I was at the salon, a new client walked in. He introduced himself as Noah, an architect recently moving to the city. There was something about his presence that intrigued me. Maybe it was his warm smile or the way he was genuinely interested in what I had to say. Noah started coming to the salon regularly, and our conversations became the highlight of my day. We talked about everything: work, hobbies, travel, and dreams. I gradually realized I was attracted to him, something I hadn't felt since Caleb. One sunny afternoon, while Noah was at the salon, he invited me for coffee. I accepted, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. Our conversation flowed naturally, and I realized he was a genuine and exciting person. He shared his dreams and experiences, and I felt comfortable sharing mine. "Harper, you're an amazing person. I'd love to get to know you better," he said, his eyes shining sincerely. I felt my heart race, but in a good way. "I'd like to get to know you better too, Noah," I replied, smiling. Our friendship blossomed and soon turned into something more. Noah was different from Caleb, and that gave me hope. He respected my time and space and was willing to build something genuine. I decided to allow myself to love again, knowing this was the only way to move forward. Gary, noticing my happiness, fully supported me. "You deserve to be happy, Harper. I'm happy for you," he said, hugging me. His words meant the world to me. We had been through so much together, and now we were finding happiness. The day of Gary and Emily's wedding arrived, and the ceremony was beautiful. Seeing my brother finally happy and marrying someone who truly loved him was a moment of pure joy. During the reception, Noah pulled me to dance, and I felt complete for the first time in a long time. "Harper, I know it wasn't easy to get here, but I'm happy to be by your side," Noah said as we danced. "And I'm happy to have found you," I replied, feeling a new hope for the future. Months turned into years, and life followed its course. The salon thrived, and Noah and I built a solid and loving relationship. Gary and Emily had their first child, a beautiful boy who brought us even more joy. I looked at all we had accomplished and felt a deep gratitude. Caleb and Hilda's betrayal had been painful, but taught me valuable lessons about love, trust, and resilience. I learned that even the deepest wounds could heal over time, and that happiness was possible even after the most significant disappointments. While looking at the stars with Noah by my side that night, I made one last wish. I wished for our happiness to continue, and for us never to allow anyone to destroy the trust we had in each other. "The stars will listen, Harper, and we will be happy," Noah said, holding my hand. And I knew he was right. Life continued, and I was ready to embrace each new day with courage, hope, and love. Thank you for following our story until now. We hope you enjoyed this journey full of emotions and twists. We want to hear your opinion. What do you think of Harper and Gary's actions in facing Caleb and Hilda's betrayals? Do you think they did the right thing by moving on and rebuilding their lives? Leave your comment below, and remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. Your participation is essential to us. Look at this story. A couple lived happily in their country home, but what seemed like just an ingrown hair changed everything. Click on the video on your screen now, and we'll meet you there in a few seconds.